Date, I think I'm falling in love with my gay best friend despite being straight after he literally saved my life. How do I tell him? I did a lot of thinking as to how I could approach the subject with my best friend Alex. I also spent a lot of time thinking about everything I saw coming from his end, like his eyes lingering or him kissing me on the cheek, whether that was all real or it was all in my head and he only saw me as a friend. Looking back on this in hindsight it was so obvious, but at the time my emotions were so high I genuinely didn't know what to think. I ended up saying screw it and made a plan to confess to Alex one night, but then I chickened out last second. So that night I stayed awake and crushed myself out for being a wuss and promised myself to tell him the next day. I ended up chickening out again. I knew at that point I needed to really psych myself up to tell him, so I did what any sane human would do. I went onto my Twitter account and scheduled a post for the next morning which would consist of a simple tweet of the N-word. I'm white. So if I didn't tell Alex about my feelings for him, that post would go up. This was all the motivation I needed to tell him what I really felt that same day. I remember approaching him with my heart racing. My palms were sweaty and my knees were heavy. There was gonna be vomit on my sweater soon. But I manned up and sat him down. I proceeded to tell him everything, from the incident with my ex-girlfriend leaving him traumatized to how he saved my life, to how I started noticing how much he cared.